The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with noise and panic. Beings from 12 different worlds sat in their special chairs, all talking at once. Some had tentacles that waved in the air. Others had crystal bodies that glowed with bright colors. A few looked like giant insects with clicking sounds coming from their mouths. Captain Lee Tae-min sat quietly in the back row. He was the only human in the room. His dark uniform looked plain next to all the colorful alien clothes. He watched everything with calm eyes and listened to every word. Order. We must have order. The voice came from Council Prime Vexithara. She was tall and made of living crystal. Her body changed colors when she spoke. Right now she was bright red, which meant she was angry. The room slowly became quiet. All eyes turned to the large screen at the front of the hall. It showed a map of space with red dots moving across it. Each red dot was an enemy ship. The Hegemony Empire has attacked 3 peaceful systems, Vexithara said. Her crystal body was now orange with worry. Their war fleets are destroying everything in their path. Millions of innocent beings are in danger. A blue creature with 6 arms stood up. What can we do? The Hegemony has the strongest military in this part of space. We must work together, Vexithara replied. Every member species must send their best warriors and ships. Only united can we stop this evil. One by one, the alien representatives stood to speak. Each one had an excuse. The Merdai representative looked like a giant fish with legs. Our ships need water to work properly. They cannot fight in the cold of space for long periods. The Zefkari delegate clicked his insect mouth. Our warriors are needed at home. This is our mating season. Without new eggs, our species will die. A being made of pure light floated up from her seat. We Lumnova are peaceful. Violence hurts our souls. We cannot take part in war. More excuses came. The rock people said their ships were too slow. The bird people claimed their technology was too old. The plant people insisted they needed sunlight to survive. Captain Lee watched all of this without showing any emotion on his face. He had expected this. Humans had been watching the Galactic Council for 20 years. They knew that when real danger came, most species would find reasons to avoid fighting. What about Earth? Vexithara's crystal body turned blue as she looked at the human section. Will humanity help us? Ambassador Park So-young stood up slowly. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her voice was strong and clear. The people of Earth have heard the call for help. We accept. The room became very quiet. Some aliens looked surprised. Others seemed worried. They had heard stories about humans, but most thought the stories were not true. You accept? Vexithara's body flashed white with shock. But Earth is so young. Your species only joined the Council 5 years ago. Do you even have a real military? Park So-young smiled in a way that made some aliens feel uncomfortable. We have what is needed, Captain. Lee felt his communication device buzz. A message appeared on his small screen. It was from General Kang Do-hyun back on Earth. The message was short. Operation Thunder March approved. Show them what we do. Lee stood up and walked to the front of the room. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. When he reached the Yao speaking area, he turned to face all the aliens. My name is Captain Lee Tae-min of the Earth Defense Force, he said in a calm voice. I have been ordered to tell this council that humanity will send a full battle fleet to help the peaceful worlds. A full fleet? The insect delegate clicked in surprise. How many ships is that? Enough, Lee replied. Vexithara's body turned purple with confusion. Captain Lee, we appreciate Earth's offer, but perhaps you do not understand. The Hegemony has over 1,000 warships. Their soldiers have been fighting for hundreds of years. This is not a small conflict. Lee looked directly at the crystal being. Council Prime, with respect, I think you do not understand. When peaceful beings ask for help, humans answer. That is who we are. The room filled with whispers. Some aliens seemed impressed by human courage. Others worried that the young species was being foolish. Very well, Vexithara said. Her body was now a calm blue color. Earth will send its fleet to help defend the border systems. We thank you for your bravery. As the meeting ended, groups of aliens gathered to talk in low voices. Many of them spoke about the humans. They are so young, said the fish-like Merdai. They do not know how terrible war can be. I heard their planet has many wars, replied a bird person. Maybe they are used to fighting. But against each other, clicked the insect delegate. Space war is different. The hegemony will destroy them in the first battle. Captain Lee heard all of this as he walked past them. He did not stop or speak. He had work to do. Outside the council hall, Ambassador Park waited for him. How long until our ships arrive? She asked. Admiral Kim's fleet is already moving, Lee replied. They will reach the first battle zone in 4 days. Park nodded. The aliens think we are making a mistake. Lee looked back at the great hall where the council was still meeting. They will learn. That night, messages flew through space at the speed of light. From Earth came orders to hidden bases throughout the galaxy. Human ships that had been waiting in dark space began to move. Weapons that had been built in secret were loaded onto transport vessels. The Galactic Council thought they were getting help from a small young species with limited military power. They were about to discover that they had been very wrong about humanity. On his private ship, Captain Lee looked out at the stars. Soon those stars would light up with the fires of war. The peaceful species of the galaxy had called for help. Humanity was coming, and when humans marched to war, the galaxy would never be the same. The space around Earth was busy with activity. Huge ships moved between the planet and its many space stations. Workers in pressure suits flew between the vessels like busy bees. The sound of metal being cut and welded filled the communication channels. Admiral Kim Jae-won stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the preparations. The ship was called Soul's Fury, and it was the largest warship humanity had ever built. From his position, he could see dozens of other vessels getting ready for war. Status report, Kim said to his second-in-command. Lieutenant Commander Shin Yu-na looked at her data screen. All ships will be ready in 6 hours, sir. The Marines are loading their equipment now. Dr. Yoon has finished installing the new weapons. Kim nodded. He was a tall man with gray at his temples. He had been preparing for this day for 15 years. Ever since humanity joined the Galactic Council, he knew this moment would come. Sir, Shin continued, the Council is asking for updates on our fleet size and capabilities. Tell them we will send what is needed, Kim replied. He did not want to give too much information. Let the aliens be surprised. Down in the weapons lab, Dr. Yoon Hye-jin was making final checks on her creations. She was a small woman with quick hands and a brilliant mind. For 10 years, she had been designing weapons that could fight alien technology. Test the kinetic cannons again, she told her assistant. The young man pressed buttons on his control panel. On the test screen, they watched as metal rods shot through space at incredible speed. When the rods hit their target, the explosion was so bright it hurt to look at. Perfect, Dr. Yoon said with satisfaction. These will punch through any alien shield. She moved to the next station where plasma torpedoes waited in their launch tubes. These weapons burned hotter than the surface of a star. She had designed them after studying captured alien technology. The Council thinks we are primitive, she said to herself. They will learn otherwise. In the training areas, Sergeant Major Choi Min-ho was pushing his Marines through their final exercises. The soldiers wore powered armor that made them look like metal giants. They moved through obstacle courses that would be impossible for normal humans. Again, Choi shouted. The enemy will not wait for you to catch your breath. The Marines ran, jumped, and crawled through the course. They carried weapons that fired energy beams and explosive rounds. Their armor had built-in computers that helped them aim and move. But the most important part of their training was not the technology. It was their minds. These soldiers could think and adapt faster than any alien species. They could fight with advanced weapons or with rocks and sticks, if needed. Sergeant Major, one of the younger Marines, asked during a break, "Is it true that aliens do not train like we do?" Choi laughed. Most aliens think war is about having the biggest ships or the strongest weapons. They do not understand that war is about will and skill. That is why we will win. Back on the flagship, Admiral Kim received a secure message from Earth. It was from the President himself. The message was simple. Make them understand what humanity can do. Kim deleted the message and called his officers together. They gathered in the main briefing room. Maps of space filled the walls, showing enemy positions and friendly systems. Listen carefully, Kim began. The Council thinks we are sending a small force to help with border defense. They do not know what we really have planned. He pressed a button, and the map changed. Red lines showed the movement of human fleets that the Council knew nothing about. There were ships coming from hidden bases throughout the galaxy. For 20 years we have been building and preparing, Kim continued. We have studied every alien military force. We know their strengths and weaknesses. We know how they think and how they fight. Lieutenant Commander Shin raised her hand. Sir, intelligence reports say the hegemony has over 1,000 ships. Our official count shows only 200 human vessels. Kim smiled. Our official count is what we want the Council to believe. The real number is classified. He changed the display again. Now it showed technical details about hegemony ships and weapons. Every piece of information had been gathered by human spies and observers. We know everything about our enemy, Kim said. We know which ships are fastest, which weapons are strongest, and which commanders are smartest. We even know their communication codes. The officers looked amazed. They had not realized how much preparation had been done. How is this possible? Asked Commander Song Woo-jin, the intelligence officer. Because while other species enjoyed peace, we prepared for war, Kim replied. We sent observers to every conflict. We studied every battle. We learned from everyone's mistakes. In another part of the ship, Chief Engineer Oh Dong-wook was making modifications to the human vessels. He was installing captured alien technology that had been improved by human scientists. The energy shields are now 30% stronger, he reported to his team. The engines can run 20% faster, and the new weapons will surprise everyone. His workers were busy installing equipment that looked alien, but had been redesigned by human engineers. Humanity had taken the best ideas from every species and made them better. As the hours passed, more ships arrived at the gathering point. Each vessel was loaded with weapons, supplies, and highly trained crews. The fleet was much larger than anyone outside of Earth's government knew. Finally, Admiral Kim received the signal he had been waiting for. All ships report ready for departure, Shin announced. Kim looked out at his fleet. Hundreds of ships floated in perfect formation. Each one was a weapon designed for one purpose, to protect peaceful worlds from those who would harm them. Send a message to the Council, Kim ordered. Tell them the human fleet is departing for the war zone. What about fleet composition and battle plans? Shin asked. Tell them we will handle it, Kim replied. As the ships began to move toward the hyperspace jump point, Kim thought about what was coming. The Galactic Council expected humanity to be brave but helpless. The enemy expected to face primitive vessels with weak weapons. They were all about to learn that humans had been hiding their true strength. For 20 years, Earth had been watching and learning and building. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could do when peaceful worlds called for help. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind only empty space and the quiet hum of the orbital stations. But across the galaxy, sensors detected the massive energy signatures of ships moving faster than light. War was coming, and humanity was ready. The Kepler 438 system was dying. Enemy ships surrounded the peaceful mining colony like hungry wolves. Explosions lit up the dark space as the defenders fought desperately against impossible odds. Captain Bae Subin watched the battle from the bridge of her destroyer. Her ship, the Busan Thunder, was still hidden behind the system's largest moon. Around her, 5 other human destroyers waited for the order to attack. Enemy count? Bae asked her weapons officer. 43 hegemony vessels, Captain. Most are heavy cruisers. The defenders have only 12 ships left and they are badly damaged. Bae nodded. The colony's defenders were brave, but they were not trained for real war. Their ships were designed for peace, not battle. They would be destroyed within the hour if no one helped them. Signal from Admiral Kim, the communications officer reported. We are cleared to engage. Bay stood up from her command chair. She was young for a captain, but she had trained for this moment her entire life. All ships, this is Bay. Attack. Pattern Delta. Show them what human ships can do. The 6 destroyers came around the moon like arrows shot from a bow. They moved in perfect formation, each ship knowing exactly where the others would be. To the watching aliens, it looked like a deadly dance. War Commander Thekmol of the Hegemony was surprised when new ships appeared on his sensors. His species looked like giant lizards with 4 arms and sharp teeth. He had been fighting wars for over 200 years. What are those small vessels? He asked his second officer. Unknown design, War Commander. They appear to be primitive, simple metal, construction with basic energy weapons. Thekmol laughed, showing his sharp teeth. Primitive ships trying to help? Destroy them quickly, then finish the colony. But as the Hegemony ships turned to fight the new arrivals, something unexpected happened. The human destroyers did not fight like any alien species Thekmol had ever seen. Captain Bay's ship dove under the enemy formation while spinning like a top. Her weapons fired in all directions, hitting 3 enemy ships at once. The other human vessels moved in ways that seemed impossible, changing direction and speed in patterns that confused the enemy. How are they moving like that? Thekmol demanded. Unknown, sir. Their engines should not be powerful enough for such maneuvers. What the enemy did not know was that human ships were built differently. While alien vessels were designed for comfort and efficiency, human ships were designed for war. Every system could work beyond normal limits when needed. The first Hegemony ship exploded in a ball of fire, then a second. The human destroyers moved between the enemy ships like sharks, striking fast and hard before moving on to the next target. Their weapons are stronger than our sensors indicated, Thekmol's weapons officer reported. They are cutting through our shields like they were not there. Dr. Yoon's improved weapons were working perfectly. The kinetic cannons fired metal rods that moved so fast they could not be stopped. The plasma torpedoes burned through alien armor like hot knives through ice. But the real advantage was not the weapons or the ships. It was the crews. Human sailors had been trained to fight in 3 dimensions, using the empty space around them. As a weapon, they thought faster and reacted quicker than any alien species. Captain, Bay's tactical officer called out, enemy battleship moving to attack the colony directly. Bay saw the huge enemy ship turning toward the helpless civilians. It was 3 times larger than her destroyer, with enough weapons to level the entire colony. All ships, focus fire on that battleship. The 6 human destroyers turned as one and flew straight at the enemy vessel. It should have been suicide. A battleship had armor and shields that could stop 100 smaller ships. But these were human ships with human crews. They attacked from 6 different directions at once, their weapons targeting specific weak points that human intelligence had identified years ago. The battleship's shields failed under the coordinated assault. Its armor cracked and split. In less than 5 minutes, the pride of the Hegemony fleet was a drifting wreck. Impossible, Thekmol whispered. Meanwhile, on the Hegemony battle station, Major Park Jin-woo was leading the first human marine assault. His soldiers moved through the corridors like ghosts using tactics that no alien mind could predict. The station's defenders were large, strong beings with natural armor and sharp claws. They should have been able to stop any boarding party in the narrow hallways of their own base. But the human marines did not fight in the hallways. They used their cutting tools to make new passages through the walls. They attacked from above and below, from directions the defenders never expected. Squad 2, move through the ventilation system, Park commanded through his radio. Squad 3, go under the floor plates. Squad 4, come through the ceiling. The alien defenders found themselves surrounded and confused. They could not understand how the human soldiers moved so quickly through areas that should have been impassable. Park himself led the assault on the command center. His powered armor made him stronger and faster than any alien warrior. His weapons could cut through their natural armor like paper. But most importantly, his mind could think of solutions that alien commanders never considered. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly, Park announced to the surviving defenders. The alien commander looked at the human soldier with fear and respect. In 30 minutes, these strange beings had captured a battle station that should have held out for days. Back in space, the battle was ending. Of the 43 hegemony ships, only 5 remained. They were trying to escape, but human ships were faster and more maneuverable. Captain Bay allowed one enemy vessel to escape. She wanted them to carry news of this battle back to their commanders. Let them know what happened when they attacked peaceful worlds. Captain Bay, her communications officer, called. "We are receiving messages from the colony and the surviving defenders." Put them on speaker. The voice that came through was filled with wonder and gratitude. "Human ships, this is Colony Administrator. Felton, we cannot believe what we have just witnessed. You have saved millions of lives today. We are here to help," Bay replied simply. Over the next hour, reports of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. The news traveled faster than the surviving enemy ships. On the Galactic Council station, emergency meetings were called. 43. Enemy ships destroyed or captured. Council Prime Vexthera's crystal body flashed with disbelief. By 6 human vessels? The reports have been confirmed by multiple sources, Ambassador Park So-Young replied calmly. Our ships performed as expected. As expected? Vexthera's voice rose higher. No species in the Council could achieve such results with so few ships. Park smiled the same smile that had made the aliens uncomfortable before. Perhaps the Council has underestimated humanity's capabilities. Across the galaxy, military commanders from every species studied the battle reports. The small primitive ships from Earth had fought like nothing they had ever seen. These humans used tactics and strategies that seemed impossible. The hegemony, empire which had been advancing on multiple fronts, suddenly found itself worried. If these humans could destroy 40 ships with only 6, what could they do with a full fleet? War Commander Thekmol, now reduced to commanding a single damaged cruiser, sent a desperate message to his superiors. The humans are not what we expected. They are dangerous beyond measure. We need to reconsider our entire strategy. But the human fleet was just getting started. This was only the first battle, and already the galaxy was beginning to understand that something had changed. Humanity had arrived at war, and nothing would ever be the same. 3 months had passed since the first battle, and the war had changed completely. Fleet Admiral Na Kyung-soo stood in the command center of his mobile headquarters, watching dozens of screens that showed battles across 3 different star systems. The ship Incheon Rising was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was part warship, part factory, and part communications hub. From here, Na controlled human forces across thousands of light-years of space. "Report from the Vega system," his aide announced. "Colonel Lim's special forces have captured another hegemony research station." Na nodded without looking away from his screens. Human forces were winning every battle, but more importantly, they were learning from each victory. Every captured enemy ship was studied. Every prisoner was questioned. Every piece of technology was improved. "What did they find this time?" Na asked. "Advanced shield generators and a new type of plasma weapon. Dr. Han says she can have improved versions ready for our ships within 2 weeks." This was the human way of war. Other species fought to destroy their enemies. Humans fought to understand them. Every battle made humanity stronger and smarter. In the interrogation chambers, Dr. Han Mi-young worked with her latest prisoners. She was an expert in alien psychology, able to understand how different species thought and reacted. This knowledge was more valuable than any weapon. "You cannot win this war," the hegemony officer said. His species had 4 eyes and skin like leather. "Our empire has conquered 100 worlds. We have been fighting for 1,000 years." Dr. Han smiled gently. She had learned that different aliens responded to different approaches. This species respected strength but also responded to logic. "Your empire was strong against enemies who fought like you," she replied. "But humans do not fight like other species. We adapt. We learn. We improve. Your own weapons are already being used against you." The prisoner's 4 eyes widened with fear. "That is impossible. Our technology is protected by quantum encryption. Nothing is impossible for humans when peaceful worlds are threatened, Dr. Han said. We have broken your codes, copied your weapons, and improved upon your designs. Your own ships now carry human-built systems that are better than your originals. This was true. Human engineers had taken every piece of hegemony technology and made it more efficient, more powerful, and more reliable. Enemy ships captured in the first battles were now fighting alongside human vessels, but with weapons that were twice as effective as before. Commander Song Woo-jin ran the intelligence networks that made all of this possible. His spies had been working throughout hegemony space for months, gathering information and sabotaging enemy operations. Sir, his communications officer reported, Agent Lee reports successful infiltration of the enemy fleet base at Kepler 186. She has planted tracking devices on 15 ships and downloaded their battle plans. Song smiled. While the hegemony focused on building bigger weapons, humans focused on gathering better information. Human spies knew where enemy fleets would be before the enemy commanders made their final decisions. Any word from the teams near the hegemony capital? Song asked. Agent Kim reports that civilian morale is dropping. News of our victories is spreading despite government censorship. Some planets are already discussing surrender. This was another human strategy that confused alien minds. While most species tried to hide their victories, humans made sure news of every battle spread throughout enemy territory. They wanted their opponents to know that resistance was hopeless. On the front lines, the results of human strategy were clear. Captain Ju Dongmin flew his fighter through an asteroid field, chasing 3 enemy ships that had tried to ambush a human convoy. His fighter was small compared to the enemy vessels, but it was faster and more maneuverable. More importantly, Ju was a human pilot with reflexes and spatial awareness that no alien could match. Target locked, he announced to his wingman. His weapons fired, and the first enemy ship exploded in a shower of metal and fire. The remaining 2 ships split up, trying to use the asteroids as cover. This was a mistake. Human pilots trained in 3-dimensional combat, using every piece of cover and every angle of attack. Ju flew his ship under a spinning asteroid, came up behind the second enemy vessel, and destroyed it with a single shot. The third ship tried to escape, but Ju's wingman was already in position to intercept it. Another successful patrol, Ju reported to his carrier. No enemy ships escaped. This was happening throughout hegemony space. Human forces appeared wherever the enemy least expected them. Their ships were faster, their weapons more accurate, and their tactics impossible to predict. Back on the command ship, Admiral Na received reports from all fronts. Every news was good news. Human forces had not lost a single major battle. More importantly, they were capturing more enemy ships than they were destroying. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, we now have more former hegemony vessels in our fleet than original human ships. Excellent, Na replied. What about crew training? The alien volunteers are learning human tactics quickly. They say, our methods are more effective than anything they were taught before. This was perhaps the most surprising development of the war. Soldiers from species that had been conquered by the hegemony were joining human forces. They wanted to learn the human way of fighting. Dr. Yoon had spent the last month training alien engineers to build human-designed weapons. Your energy efficiency is 30% higher than our old systems, one insectoid engineer told her. How did you achieve this? Humans think differently about problems, Dr. Yoon replied. We do not accept that something cannot be improved. Every system can be made better if you understand how it really works. The Galactic Council watched all of this with growing amazement and concern. Ambassador An Young-suk attended the emergency sessions where alien representatives tried to understand what was happening. The humans have captured over 300 enemy ships in 3 months, Council Prime Vexithara announced. Her crystal body was bright orange with worry. Their fleet is now larger than it was when the war began. How is this possible? Asked the Murdai representative. No species has ever achieved such success against the hegemony. An stood to respond. Humans prepare for war differently than other species. We study our enemies, learn from our battles, and improve our methods. Every victory makes us stronger. But your people have only been in space for a few decades. The insectoid delegate clicked in confusion. The hegemony has been fighting for centuries. Time in space does not equal skill. In war, An replied. Humans have been fighting on our homeworld for thousands of years. We understand warfare in ways that peaceful species do not. The truth was more complex than even An revealed. Human military doctrine was based on the idea that any enemy could be defeated if you understood them completely. Human forces did not just fight the hegemony. They studied them, copied them, and then improved upon everything they learned. In the hegemony capital, Emperor Vashatar called an emergency meeting of his war council. The massive alien ruler had skin like metal and 3 arms that ended in sharp claws. Explain to me how a species that joined the galactic community 5 years ago is destroying fleets that have conquered worlds for centuries, he demanded. His generals looked at each other nervously. None of them had good answers. The humans fight unlike any species we have encountered, one general said. They use tactics we have never seen. They move their ships in ways our computers say are impossible. They also learn from every battle, another added. Our own weapons are being used against us, but improved beyond our original designs. Emperor Vashatar slammed his clawed hand on the table. Then we must strike at their home world. If we destroy Earth, this war ends. But when his intelligence officers checked their files, they found something disturbing. Human ships were spread throughout the galaxy, but very few were near Earth. The human homeworld was protected by automated defense systems that no one had seen in action. Sir, the intelligence chief reported nervously, our spies near Earth report massive defensive installations that our sensors cannot fully identify. The humans appear to have been building planetary defenses for decades. The Emperor's 3 eyes narrowed. How many defensive platforms? We do not know, sir. Our count keeps changing. Some installations appear and disappear. Others seem to be mobile. We think the humans may have more defenses than some species have total ships. For the first time since the war began, Emperor Bashtar felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Fear. These humans were not just winning battles. They were reshaping the entire war according to their own plans. Across the galaxy, the balance of power was shifting. Human forces continued to advance on all fronts, capturing more territory and more ships with each passing day. The hegemony, empire, which had seemed unstoppable just months before, was now fighting for its survival. And the human war machine was just getting started. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never seen such a gathering. Representatives from all member species filled every seat, and many more watched through holographic displays. The emergency session had been called to address a single question. How had humanity become so powerful? Ambassador An Youngsuk walked to the speaking platform with calm confidence. Behind her, a large screen showed the current state of the war. Red areas marked hegemony territory, blue showed human-controlled space, and green indicated liberated worlds. In just 4 months, the map had changed completely. Honorable Council members, An began, you have asked for answers about human military capabilities. Today you will receive them. The hall became silent. Council Prime Vexathara's crystal body shifted through nervous colors as she watched the human diplomat. But first, An continued, I would like to introduce someone who can explain better than I can. The air above the platform shimmered and a holographic figure appeared. It was President Moon Jae-hyun of Earth, appearing live from the human capital. Greetings, Council members, President Moon said. I speak to you today not as a conqueror but as a protector. You have asked how humanity developed such military strength. The answer is simple. We never stopped preparing for war. Gasps and whispers filled the hall. Many aliens looked confused. I do not understand, said the Mirdai representative. Your species has enjoyed peace under Council protection for 5 years. Why would you prepare for war? President Moon's expression became serious. Because peace is not a gift. It is something that must be defended. While other species enjoyed the safety of Council protection, Humans studied every conflict in galactic history. We learned from every battle, every victory, and every defeat. The screen behind On changed to show images of human military academies, research stations, and training facilities. The aliens saw thousands of humans studying warfare, building weapons, and practicing tactics. For 20 years, President Moon continued, we prepared for the day when peaceful worlds would need protection. We built our military assuming we would face enemies more advanced than ourselves. We trained our soldiers to fight opponents stronger, faster, and more numerous than humans. General Kwan Haisol appeared on the screen next to the president. She was a stern woman with scars on her face from old battles. Human military philosophy is different from other species, General Kwan explained. We do not prepare to fight enemies like ourselves. We prepare to fight enemies who are better than us in every way. This forces us to be smarter, faster, and more adaptable. But how? Asked the Crystalline Council Prime. Your technology was rated as primitive when you joined the council. Dr. Yoon Hyejin appeared on the screen, her laboratory visible behind her. We took every piece of alien technology we could legally study, she said. Then we improved it. Human engineers do not accept that something cannot be made better. The screen showed images of human weapons and ships. They looked similar to alien designs, but the specifications were far superior. We increased energy efficiency by 40%. Dr. Yoon continued. We made shields 30% stronger. We reduced weapon charging time by half. We took your technology and made it work the way it should have worked from the beginning. The alien representatives looked stunned. They had been sharing their technology with humanity, thinking they were helping a primitive species. Instead, they had been giving humans the tools to surpass them. This is why human ships perform so well, General Kwan added. Our vessels use improved versions of your own technology, combined with human tactical thinking. Council Prime Vexthara's body flashed red with anger. You have been deceiving us. You pretended to be weak while building the strongest military in the galaxy. President Moon shook his head. We never lied to you. We simply prepared for war while hoping we would never need to fight. When peaceful worlds called for help, we were ready to answer. Demonstrate, came a new voice from the audience. It was the representative of the warrior species called the Thakmori. They were proud fighters who had always looked down on other species. Show us what human warriors can really do. Ambassador An smiled. Very well. Captain Ju Dongmin is currently in a fighter near this station. Perhaps he can provide a demonstration. The council chamber's screen switched to an external view of space around the station. A single human fighter appeared, moving toward a practice target that had been set up for training exercises. Captain Ju, An spoke into her communicator. Please show the council your capabilities. The fighter moved in ways that seemed impossible. It spun, rolled, and dove through space like a living thing. Its weapons fired with perfect accuracy, destroying practice targets that were moving at high speed. But then something unexpected happened. A group of hegemony ships appeared at the edge of the system, apparently trying to attack the council. Station itself. Enemy vessels detected, the station's defense coordinator announced. 12 heavy cruisers approaching at attack speed. Panic filled the council chamber. The station's own defenses were not strong enough to stop a determined attack by 12 enemy ships. Do not worry, Captain Ju's voice came through the speakers calmly. I will handle this. The aliens watched in disbelief as the single human fighter turned toward the enemy fleet. It should have been suicide. One small ship against 12 heavy cruisers was hopeless. But Captain Ju fought like no alien pilot ever could. His ship moved between the enemy vessels like a ghost, appearing where they did not expect him and disappearing before they could react. His weapons targeted specific weak points that human intelligence had identified months ago. The first enemy ship exploded, then the second. The remaining 10 ships tried to surround the human fighter, but Ju was always one step ahead of them. Impossible, whispered the Thakmori representative. No single pilot could do this. But they watched as Captain Ju systematically destroyed every enemy ship. He used the council station itself as cover, flying through its docking bays and around its communication arrays. The enemy ships could not fire at him without risking damage to the station. In 15 minutes, all 12 enemy ships were destroyed or disabled. Captain Ju's fighter returned to its position near the station without a scratch. How? Council Prime Vexithara asked in a whisper. Human pilots train differently, General Quan explained from Earth. We use simulations that are harder than real combat. We practice fighting multiple enemies while protecting civilians. Captain Ju was not in danger just now. For him, this was an easy exercise. The council chamber was completely silent. The aliens had just witnessed combat skills that they thought were impossible. This is why the hegemony is losing, President Moon said. They are fighting an enemy that is better prepared, better trained, and better equipped than they are. They are fighting humanity. Ambassador An stepped forward again. But the demonstration is not over. The hegemony empire has just made a desperate decision. Our intelligence reports indicate they are planning to use planet-killer weapons against civilian populations. The hall erupted in shocked voices. Planet-killer weapons were banned by galactic law. Using them would be a crime against all life. They threaten to destroy innocent worlds unless human forces withdraw. An continued. They believe this will force us to negotiate. Will you withdraw? Asked the Mirdai representative quietly. An's expression became cold and hard. Humanity does not negotiate with terrorists. We do not bargain with those who threaten innocence. The hegemony has made their final mistake. President Moon leaned forward on the screen. I am hereby authorizing Operation Thunder March. The hegemony empire ends today. The aliens looked confused. What is Operation Thunder March? Vex Thara asked. The plan we have been preparing for 4 months, General Quan replied. While the hegemony focused on border fighting, we have been positioning forces throughout their territory. Our ships are already in position around their capital world. The council chamber's screens changed to show space around the hegemony, homeworld. Hundreds of human ships appeared as their stealth systems deactivated. The enemy capital was completely surrounded. Impossible, breathed the insectoid delegate. How did you get so many ships there without detection? Human stealth technology, Dr. Yoon said with pride. We learned from your species' cloaking devices and improved them beyond your ability to detect. Emperor Vashitar's voice suddenly came through the communication system. The hegemony ruler was trying to contact the council directly. Galactic Council! His angry voice filled the chamber. Order the humans to withdraw immediately, or we will destroy 3 populated worlds. Ambassador An walked to the communication console. Emperor Vashitar, this is Ambassador An Youngsuk of Earth. You will surrender immediately or your empire will be destroyed. You dare threaten me? The Emperor roared. I have planet-killer weapons. You had planet-killer weapons, An corrected. Human special forces disabled them 20 minutes ago. Your capital is surrounded. Your fleets are scattered. Your empire is finished. The communication went silent. Then came the sound of explosions and shouting in the background. Sir, came a new voice, probably one of the Emperor's officers. Human, Marines have breached the palace. They are demanding your surrender.